Okay, 1 sec. I'll explain the beams here. The most annoying is Ulduar's Fury. They'll spawn generally here. They dart around at roughly 250% movement speed. When they reach the hitbox of your vehicle, they'll attempt to do a cast. If it commits to this cast, you have 3 seconds to get out from underneath it by 9 yards. If you fail to, you will become frozen within an ice block. It will do this damage initially, and this damage over time for every second you are frozen. This can be broken by anti-air and mortar, by any gunner. There is minor nuance with these. If you are continuously moving away from it, it can refuse to commit to cast until it is properly seated over your hitbox. So if you want it to do its business and piss off, just stop moving for half a second to a second, then full commit to moving away until you see the ball drop. Siege hitboxes are huge, BT dubs. 32 seconds into the fight, Freya's ward will spawn in all 4 corners of the room. To counter the adds of spawn, you're going to want choppers and siege engines. All will have choppers, 3 will have siege engines, 1 will have demos in the vicinity. Stacked tar set ablaze will do most of the work. Siege engines will perpetually knock mobs back into the tar. The lashers should die in mere moments. Just tar alone, Freya's ward should die before the next set spawns. This keeps adds sufficiently under control, and if done right, completely counters the Freya's ward mechanic. If you would like it to die faster, anti-air and mortar is the answer. Now let's say this spawns on the side that doesn't have a siege engine. There are plenty of options, along with the tar going. You could lob a single pirate at it, you could lob 2 boulders at it, you can knock it back in with a demolisher's ram effect. Or you could just spam anti-air mortar from your gunners. The point of this method is control, and control is king. It is the best use for tar, and I'm probably going to harp on this at some point, but no, tar does nothing to slow the boss, and this is the absolute best use for it. 40 seconds into the fight, Mimron's Inferno will spawn, represented as a giant red beam. It moves around at a rate of 100% movement speed, drops a ball of fire every 3¼ seconds. Being within 9 yards at the point of impact, you will take 150k damage. It'll produce a 9-yard radial fire. The fire will deal 10% of your total vehicle's health and damage every 1 second. There will be a little over 11 yards in gap between each fire, which means choppers and demos can move between them freely. Siege engines can steam rush in an attempt to avoid the tick. This is a rough draft of its pathing pattern. The corners are generally safe, and you can choose to be in front of the line or behind the line of fire. Just have the whereabouts to have an exit strategy in case the boss is like, hey, what's going on there, buddy? I'm gonna be exceptionally lazy with Thorm's Hammer because they honestly don't care that much to animate any more of this. So the way this generally works is Thorm's Hammer will start coming down in pairs of 2. This is a lightning bolt that will do 300k damage if you're directly underneath it by 9 yards. It'll spawn sporadically, and about 30 of them are going to spawn in total. After 23 seconds of the first one landing, if are in current transition to land, they won't do any damage. Regardless of what happens, everyone in the raid will take 1% of their total health and damage for each one that hits the ground. You will only see this mechanic once, never happen again, it's a one-off. Here's a quick rundown on the movement speed. Flame Leviathan's movement speed baseline is 80%. This increments by 5% every 12 seconds roughly. With Ulduar's Fury active, demolishers and siege engines move at 100% movement speed, same as you run on your character. Without it, it would be at 120. Choppers move at 200% movement speed. Each of them have their own form of boost. Demolishers cost pyrite to use, which is why you want to avoid it unless it's absolutely necessary. Having distance prior to fixate usually makes it unnecessary. Siege engines can dart 70 yards over the span of 2 seconds. Choppers have a boost that they can use religiously. At 400% movement speed, you're the fastest thing in this raid. Now back on to Flame Leviathan. He isn't able to match your speed until he reaches 4 stacks. And he isn't able to sufficiently gain on you until he reaches above 9. Shutdown should occur anywhere between 4 and 9. Anything above 10 will probably require some form of boost on the vehicles in order to evade. Ideally, this will never happen. As long as you have distance and he's below 10 stacks, you should be fine. Every shutdown resets these stacks to 0. Here's the rest of the tower effects. Math of the boss's health pool. Detailed specifics on how iLvL increases your health and damage. Link to the spreadsheet in the comments or description. Here's my other video that explains that in great detail. Current content epic gear, please. Like Nax or above. Anything that's blue or from BC is griefing. The following is going to be a simulation showing all this in effect at an eye level around 216, 217. I'm just hitting a number to hit 1.5 times the damage output. This is in no means mandatory. If you have more, great. If you have less, it's fine. This number is for the sake of simplifying the math. Just to give a rough estimate of how long the fight should carry on for. Start off by being prepped in 3 corners. This is his aggro radius. This is a range where you can electroshock and ram him. This is his melee radius. Avoid being within it. He'll start off fixating a siege or a demo. During this time, you want all of your demolishers to build 10 stacks of pyrite on Flame Leviathan. If a demo is being chased, this is fine. During their fixate, they can do double takes to keep up the stacks, ideally. or they can just ride it out until it fixates somebody else. When 10 stacks are achieved by the demolishers, follow it with an audible countdown, signaling your gunners to fill your demos and to be prepped in and loaded to be launched onto the boss. At or around this time, Ulduar's Fury should spawn. Handle it as demonstrated prior. This will be a constant throughout the rest of the encounter. Around this time and every 32 seconds after, Freya's ward will spawn. With Tar and associated vehicles, even the ward should die with no time at all. You should be able to achieve a shutdown between 4 to 9 stacks of movement speed increase on the boss. At 40 seconds and for the remainder of the fight, the DVD logo beam will be active. Up until shutdown, your demos should only be using Pyrite to maintain the 10 stack until they are reunited with their gunner. At the latest, you should have the DPS to have him shut down before the third fixate. This is the entire gimmick of the boss. Kite him around, shut him down, reset the stacks, beat the hell out of him, avoid beams, play good, win loot. Shutdown lasts for a total of 20 seconds. About 10 of that's going to be retrieving your gunners. Thorum's Hammer will have a one-off, just avoid the obvious, and be ready to repeat the process as many times as it takes you to complete the encounter. GG. This is an actor-heavy fight, but once you understand it, it's pretty simple to execute on. Yeah, that's pretty much Flame Leviathan. I'm going to cover an annoyance with this encounter and some of the role aspects. When you enter a vehicle, it can refuse to let you use any of its abilities. If this happens, you have to restart the game. Reload UI does nothing to fix it. Do you need all ranged as demo gunners? No, 4 melee is fine, but it's more optimized to use range when their turret dies, they can help with somebody else's. As long as they're decent DPS, it's fine. As a siege engine gunner, should I just be shooting down Pyrite the entire time? It's situational. If there's enough on the ground, you're fine to spam the boss with cannon. Should also be helping with the ads. As the one demo gunner who isn't getting thrown up, what should I be doing? Shoot down and feed Pyrite, hit the ads and boss on downtime. As a siege engine driver interrupting the boss, should I be inside the boss's hitbox? No. You can hit it from 25 yards with both of your abilities. Can I just wait till I outgear this and not have to do mechanics? Sure, when ICC rolls around, you won't have to deal with shutdowns.
When he's gaining speed, you're going to want your salvage chopper to be putting tar down in front of the boss while he's getting slowed. With kiting, it's important if you can keep your bikes maintaining tar down under the boss to keep it slowed, because you're always keeping him slowed with tar. Bikes should be running in front of the boss and dropping tar.
Chopper. You'll be putting oil slicks between the boss and their pursuit target.
Choppers should be putting down tar in front of the boss.
The slowing effect from the tar.
It's only used to slow the boss for kiting. Can lay tar to slow the boss.
Chopper drivers drop the tar in front of the boss.
Press 2 to place tar in front of Flame Leviathan to slow the boss down.
Tar. You want to place these at each green beam around the room and get it lit so that when the plants spawn, they're instantly taking damage and slowed.
Yes, I'm calling out people. No, I'm not trying to cause drama. As I typed, I felt it would be disingenuous to ignore, and I don't feel conflicted about bringing it up. I know it was posted on a Warcraft Tavern. IMO not a source I use. But you bear some responsibility when you parrot misinformation you didn't verify. This is a promotion of blatant misinformation under the guise of a placebo. This will affect groups who rely on you for that information. I just ask that you do better. All these guys were done very well, just hats off to Jordy for not perpetuating a false claim. I came in knowing and brushing up on the encounter, figuring out Blender, and coming through Warcraft logs. I'm 2 weeks late posting this because of COVID and backed up. I tried to keep this video under 8 minutes. I'm going to end it on that. Thank you for watching. Here's the programs and sources I used. I haven't really set up a Twitch yet. If you like my content, you want to see more, comment, subscribe, like, and have a good rest of your day.